Hello and welcome to Today in History. It's the 1st of October. Let's get rolling. So we go back to the year 331 BCE. So 331 BCE, and on this day, Alexander the Great of Macedonia defeated Darius III of Persia at the Battle of Gaugamela, spelling the end of the Persian Empire. So this picture here, guess it's a reenactment or a painting. Not quite sure which it is, but I think it's a painting. So the Persian Empire officially ended on this day at the Battle of Gaugamela. Okay, and the year was 331 BCE. Let's move on to the year 1553. Mary I, with her coronation, became the first queen to rule England in her own right. She was later named or nicknamed Bloody Mary because of her persecution of Protestants in a vain attempt to restore Roman Catholicism in the country. So that's Mary I, nicknamed Bloody Mary, who had a coronation on this day in 1553. Let's move on to the year 1890. By an act of the US Congress, Yosemite National Park was created, eventually becoming one of the most heavily visited national parks in the country. So this is a picture of Yosemite National Park. Pictures, beautiful place, absolutely gorgeous. Next, we have this gentleman here, my favorite American president of all time, Jimmy Carter, and I'll tell you why. He just has, or seems to have, a peace about him. There's an aura about this man which almost mystifies me. He seems so content with life. He seems so happy, so joyful. And that, for someone who once led the United States of America, probably the most stressful job on the planet, I doff my hat off to him. So I'm going to read a bit about Jimmy Carter. He was born on this day in 1924. Former President of the United States, full name James Earl Carter. He's an American politician, philanthropist, and former farmer who served as the 39th President of the United States from 1977 to 1981. What I'm quite surprised about is that he didn't have a second term. He wasn't voted in a second time. A member of the Democratic Party, he previously served as a Georgia state senator from 1963 to 1967 and as the 76th governor of Georgia from 1971 to 1975. Okay, that's interesting. Since leaving the presidency, Carter has remained engaged in political and social projects as a private citizen. In 2002, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for his work in co-founding the Carter Center. So Nobel Peace Prize, that's a man of peace. Raised in Plains, Georgia, Carter graduated from the United States Naval Academy in 1946 with a Bachelor of Science degree and joined the United States Navy, where he served on submarines. After the death of his father in 1953, Carter left his naval career and returned home to Georgia to take up the reins of his family's peanut growing business. Carter inherited comparatively little due to his father's forgiveness of debts. Now that is deep. You know, I can see where he gets his kind-heartedness from, and the division of the estate among the children. Nevertheless, his ambition to expand and grow the Carter's peanut business was fulfilled. During this period, Carter was motivated to oppose the political climate of racial segregation. Why am I not surprised? And support the growing civil rights movement. He became an activist within the Democratic Party. From 1963 to 1967, Carter served in the Georgia State Senate, and in 1970 he was elected as governor of Georgia, defeating former Governor Carl Sanders in the Democratic Party on an anti-segregation platform, advocating affirmative action for ethnic minorities. Wow. Carter remained as governor until 1975. Despite being a dark horse candidate who was little known outside of Georgia at the start of the campaign, Carter won the 1976 Democratic presidential nomination. In the general election, Carter ran as an outsider and narrowly defeated incumbent Republican President Gerald Ford. On his second day in office, Carter pardoned all the Vietnam War draft evaders by issuing Proclamation 4483. I didn't know all this about President Carter, and when you see a man who is at peace with himself and at peace with the world and loves people, you can just tell, it just radiates from him. And I'm not surprised that he did all these things, fought for desegregation, pardoned Vietnam War draft evaders. His father forgave the debts of those who were owing him. So he must have gotten that kindness from his father. I'm sure his mother was a kind woman as well. So anyway, happy birthday, sir. Happy birthday, President Carter, who would be 96 today. 96 today. He has lived a long, hopefully happy life. I'm sure he has lived so far a long, happy life. So I'm going to show you more pictures of him. This is Carter, middle-aged Carter, and then President Carter. God, I so love this man. I just love this man, honestly. Honestly, that's President Carter for you. Okay, another favorite person of mine was born on this day, interestingly, 1st of October. It looks like a special day. So October 1st, and the year is 1935. This lady here, Dame Julie Andrews, DBE. DB stands for Dame of the British Empire. Born Julia Elizabeth Wells on the 1st of October 1935. She is an English actress, singer, and author. Andrews, a child actress and singer, appeared in the West End in 1948 and made her Broadway debut in The Boyfriend in 1954, and in 1952 she voiced Princess Zilla in the Italian animated film The Singing Princess. Billed as Britain's youngest prima donna, she rose to prominence starring in Broadway musicals such as My Fair Lady 1956, playing Eliza Doolittle, and Camelot 1960, playing Queen Guinevere. In 1957, Andrews starred in the premiere of Rodgers and Hammerstein's written for television musical Cinderella, a live network broadcast seen by over 100 million viewers. Andrews made her feature film debut in Mary Poppins in 1964 and won the Academy Award for Best Actress for her performance in the title role. She starred in The Sound of Music 1965, one of my favorite movies of all time, playing Maria von Trapp, and won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress, Motion Picture Comedy or Musical. Now going back to The Sound of Music, I said it was one. It is my favorite movie of all time. And I'll tell you why. Growing up as a child in Nigeria, I came across this movie for the first time as a 6-year-old, and it just, for me, it was such a joyful movie. For me, this is what life ought to be about. Obviously, you're going to have the ups and downs of life, the vicissitudes of life. You see that in the film as well. But in spite of that, these children were happy. Captain Von Trapp and his wife are very happy. They were always singing, going out, hanging out, playing and all that. now that I'm a father, I look at my kids and I think, that's the sort of life I want for my kids. I want my kids to be happy. I want my kids to sing. I want my kids to be joyful, to be joyous, to radiate joy and contentment and peace. It's not really about what you have or what you have to give to the world. So that's why I celebrate this lady. She has brought a lot of happiness to probably hundreds of millions of people who have seen this movie, The Sound of Music, and of course all the other movies that she's produced as well. But especially The Sound of Music, she also radiates this joy as well, which has touched doubtless the lives of millions and millions of people worldwide. So happy birthday, Dame Julie Andrews. She will be 85, believe it or not, today. And this woman hasn't aged much since The Sound of Music. She's put on a bit of weight, which is understandable with age, but apart from that, honestly, I don't know how she's done it, but she's really, really pretty much kept her good looks. Okay, let's move on to the year 1936. On this day, Franco, pictured here, became head of the new nationalist regime of Spain at the beginning of the Spanish Civil War. So I've not heard very positive things. I haven't heard any positive thing about General Franco. I do know that during the few visits I've had to Spain, it's not been a positive. It's not been a positive vibe that I've gotten from those who grew up under his regime. Anyway, let's move on now to the year 1949. Mao Zedong, or Chairman Mao. On this day, the People's Republic of China was established. In Beijing, with most of the Chinese mainland held by the Communist People's Liberation Army, its dynamic leader, Mao Zedong, proclaimed the establishment of the People's Republic of China on this day in 1949. So that's Mao Zedong pictured here. The other name for him is Chairman Mao. 1960, another country, this time in West Africa, Nigeria, gains independence from the United Kingdom, but still remains up to this day a member of the Commonwealth. So happy Independence Day to my fellow Nigerian brothers and sisters. All the best. We continue to hope and work hard. Not just hoping, but we have to support that hope with hard work as well, because hope alone will take us nowhere. We need to work towards a country where people feel safe to live in. There are jobs for as many people as possible. We try, obviously, those jobs hopefully would bridge the gap, between the haves and the have-nots, because you find out that in places where there are a lot of wealthy people, many people who are, there's a disproportionate, very, very huge disproportionate distribution of wealth. There's bound to be a high incidence of crime. So what we should do as Africans, as Nigerians, is to try and bridge that gap between the haves and the have-nots. You want the middle class to be the largest class in the country. You don't train people in the best universities in the country, and you're training those people to go to other countries to live for the rest of their lives. It doesn't make sense. And then what happens to the middle class of the country? There's hardly any middle class in the country. So you've got the elite and then the very poor. There's a yawning gap in between. So what's going to happen? Those who are very poor feel deprived, feel angry, and want to rob off those who are very wealthy. Those who have very strong moral grounds, it's easy for them to crack. When they see the affluence of the astonishingly rich, I'd call them, and they have next to nothing. It's just, we need to look at those have-nots in the society, not out of fear, but out of love. help people. I know there are millions of Nigerians, wealthy Nigerians, who reach out to help those who are less privileged. But we should up the ante. We should step things up and help a lot more people. Put things in place. Perhaps the state could put a framework in place to take care of those who are less privileged. I'm sure they are doing their best, but a lot still needs to be done. So happy 60th independence anniversary to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, country of 200 million people. I think it's still the richest country in Africa, but that's the GDP of the country and not per capita income. So hopefully things would change. Nigeria would grow from strength to strength. Okay, let's move on to the year 1961. So exactly a year later, this man called Roger Maris, the American baseball player, was an American baseball player. He hit his 61st home run of the season, which meant that he broke Babe Ruth's record. And guess what? The record remained unbroken for 37 years. 37 years. Can you believe that? 37 years, this guy's record wasn't broken. So that the record was broken in 1998, if you didn't guess that right. Okay, so that is Roger Maris, who made history on this day by hitting his 61st home run of the season. In so doing, he broke Babe Ruth's record. I did mention him in my previous video. Yesterday, I think it was. Okay, 1966, George Mane Opong Weah, pictured here. He's a Liberian politician and former professional footballer. So you can see him here in his younger days as a footballer. Currently serving as the 25th president of Liberia. In office since 2018. Prior to his election to the presidency, Weah served as senator from Montserrado County. During his football career, he played as a striker. His prolific 18-year professional playing career ended in 2003. He is the first former professional footballer to become head of state. So that's the player and that's the head of state. So George Weah, on this day, he was born. The year was 1966. So happy birthday, Mr. George Weah, President of Liberia. 1971. Walt Disney World Resort, a complex near Orlando, Florida, that features attractions based on the stories and characters created by the Disney Company, opened. So this is Walt Disney. I remember this very, very vividly from about 10 years ago when I took my kids to Walt Disneyland, like 9 years ago, in April of 2011. Yes, so 9 years ago, 9 years and a few months ago, I was in Disneyland, and that's an experience that every kid should have, So these are pictures of Disneyland, Florida. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Okay. On this day in 1975, so exactly 4 years later, we had the Thrilla in Manila. So in what is regarded by many as the greatest prize fight of all time, Muhammad Ali defeated Joe Frazier after the latter's corner called a halt to the bout after 14 brutal rounds. Ali won by a technical knockout, so a TKO, after Frazier's chief second, Eddie Fudge, asked the referee to stop the fight following the end of the 14th round. The contest name is derived from Ali's rhyming boast that the fight would be, listen to this, a killer and a thriller and a chiller when I get that gorilla in Manila. Damn. This guy was one intelligent man, Muhammad Ali. He entertained, he made boxing like entertainment. And honestly, respect to the greatest. So more pictures of this fateful day, the Thrilla in Manila, in which Muhammad Ali defeated Joe Frazier by technical knockout. 1994. On this day, the Republic of Palau, located here, officially became a sovereign state. So that's Palau. I'll go back to the other picture so you can figure out where it is. Australia to the south, Papua New Guinea as well, Indonesia to the southwest, Philippines to the northwest, Northern Mariana Islands to the northeast, Guam northeast, Federated States of Micronesia, the northeast, Marshall Islands, Nauru, Solomon Islands, all encircling Papua New Guinea, all encircling Palau. Okay, so that's what happened on this day. The Republic of Palau officially became a sovereign state. In 2013, American novelist Tom Clancy, I've seen his books in bookshops. I've not even read any of his books, but it seems to be an intriguing individual. He created the techno thriller, a suspenseful novel that relies on extensive knowledge of military technology and espionage. He died on this day in 2013. 17 of his novels were bestsellers, and more than 100 million copies of his books were sold. His name was also used for movie scripts written by ghostwriters, non-fiction books on military subjects, occasionally with co-authors, and video games. He was a part owner of his hometown Major League Baseball team, the Baltimore Orioles, of the American League, and vice chairman of their community activities and public affairs committees. Wow. So that is Mr. Tom Clancy, who died on this day, unfortunately, 7 years ago in 2013. So our hearts go out to his family who would be remembering him today. Let's move on to the year 2017. It's a very sad day. So on this day, this maniac from his hotel room in Las Vegas, 64-year-old gunman Stephen Paddock, opened fire on a music festival, killing 58 people and wounding hundreds before taking his own life. It surpassed the Orlando shooting in 2016 as the deadliest mass shooting in modern US history. So this is 64-year-old Stephen Paddock. This is the first time I've actually seen this, because I realized, looking back now, that on this day, I was far away in Africa. I just lost my dad a month earlier. So obviously my mind, I wasn't listening to stuff about the news, So this was the least of my worries at the time. So I'm just realizing I had to situate myself when I saw this during my research. I thought, I never heard this before. I never saw this, And so I realized why this slipped my observation. I wasn't listening to the news at the time. Anyway, so on that sad note, I guess it's something we have to reflect upon as well. And we shouldn't also take life for granted, because there are people like this who are roaming our streets. And we hope that we don't come into contact with them, or we hope we're not in the wrong place at the wrong time. I've been to Las Vegas. It's a safe place. It's a nice place, hot, a lovely place, like most of America is. But so just be on your guard, guys. Be safe. Keep your wits about you while traveling alone or traveling with your family. Okay, guys, I shall end it here. That's all for today. I shall see you tomorrow, 2nd of October, for another edition of Today in History. Thanks, guys, for dropping by. This is a bit of a long one today, because I have, obviously, a lot of stuff happened today. And some of it is forced history. I say forced history because it's the 1st of October, and a lot of people would have put events that would become historical events on this day. And an example is in the Nigerian independence. Another example is Palau becoming a sovereign state on this day. That is about it for Today in History for the 1st of October. See you tomorrow, 2nd of October, for another edition of Today in History. My name once more, Sotonye Afiesima. Thanks for dropping by. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Click the notification bell as well so that you receive updates of my video uploads. Stay safe, guys. See you tomorrow.